Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I'm not here with Geeky Sparkles. I'm going to remind you, though, that you don't own your games. You don't own your games. We've got two stories for you today. One of them, the first one, is about Nintendo bricking a guy's console, his Switch 2, because he played secondhand Switch 1 games on it. So I'm assuming he went and bought these games online or something, and he tried to play them on a Switch. Well, it wasn't registered to that Switch, and they bricked his system. We'll talk about that, and then we're going to talk about Ubisoft's EULA, their new terms of service that says you need to destroy your games. If they've decided they're done with your games, you need to be done with them too, and you need to delete them, get rid of them, or else, guys. So this is, again, I agree with the article here on Dual Shockers. This is the perfect advertisement for Stop Killing Games. This is exactly why Stop Killing Games is picking up momentum, because it's not just about online games disappearing. It's about the fact that you don't own your games. And these companies don't want you to own your games. They want you to subscribe to games. They want you to lease your console. That's basically what you're doing. You don't actually have full control over your Switch 2. If you attempt to alter the Switch 2 or play games on it that Nintendo does not agree with, guess what? They'll break your system. I mean, that's kind of crazy. Can you imagine them doing that to Atari or to the NES back in the day? I mean, I think if Nintendo could do it back in the day, they would have. I mean, they've always been crazy control freaks. But yeah, I mean, everything now is going online. Even your offline games. I've talked about this before. Ever since Nintendo rolled out that update with the virtual game card or whatever, like, you have to basically lock that physical copy of your game to that particular Switch. And we had a power outage about 2 months ago. I told the story before. It still pisses me off. We had a power outage, and the Switch had updated, and I went to play a game offline. I think it was like Sega Collection or Final Fantasy X HD or something. I wanted to play. I'm like, well, my Switch is fully charged. I'll play one of these many physical games that I own to kill some time. And I couldn't, because I couldn't get online to register a cartridge I bought 5, 6, 8 years ago to my Switch because of that update. It's completely bogus. I hate this. I hate this current generation of gaming, and I think this is why we're seeing so many people turn their backs on it. So let's talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. Go out to news.clownfishtv.com. We're going to be posting more podcasts out there, ramping up the content over there, trying to build a little bit of a life raft off of YouTube. I don't trust YouTube. I trust them about as much as I trust Nintendo at this point. Also, just a reminder, Atari's still around. Well, kind of, but they're still making physical games. I think we need to do this. I think we need to go back to physical cartridges, because you can cram so much into a thumb drive now, into an SD card. If you had a full-size cartridge, you'd have terabytes of data on this thing. And, so we could have pretty amazing games and just, keep them offline. You buy the cartridge, pop it into the console. There you go. I would like to see what generation would we be in? A 256-bit, 720-bit generation or something? I would like to see consoles come back. Like actual consoles, not just a cheap-ass gaming PC, but actual consoles with actual physical cartridges. You buy that cartridge, you own that cartridge, and you can play it whenever the hell you want to. Online, offline, doesn't matter. This is some nonsense. This has come from Metro. Switch 2 owner banned for playing secondhand Switch 1 games. So get this. New concerns have arisen over Nintendo's strict policies over how you use the Switch 2, although for the moment it does seem that there's a solution. Okay, Nintendo gets away with a lot of negative consumer practices purely because their games and consoles are so popular. That is true. People give them a pass because their games are good. Well, I really like Zelda. I really like Pokemon. I really like Mario. It's okay if you kick me in the nuts, Nintendo. It's okay, Doug Bowser. Bend me over, Doug. There's already been concern about the ability to put the Switch 2 permanently offline if you use mod carts, which are often used for playing pirated games. Now, don't agree with playing pirated games, but There are going to be some cases where people are falsely flagged for playing pirated games, and they're not actually pirating games because Nintendo doesn't like, what if they decide, hey, we don't want you playing this game or that game because we had a falling out with the company. We think that game is problematic, even though it came out, 10, 15 years ago. We don't want you playing that game anymore. So we're just going to, lock it out of the system. Well, if there's a screw up in the database and all the games that you thought you owned are now unplayable, as all kinds of things can happen. A different problem has arisen from a Switch 2 owner that claims he was banned for using a secondhand Switch game he bought from Facebook Marketplace. Nintendo apparently realized they were secondhand when he attempted to download patches for them when starting them up on the Switch 2. So is this about that virtual card thing? At this point, he claims he was banned. While it's not something that's been widely reported by others, it does raise obvious concerns for the future, according to the Reddit post. We'll go out to that. They were able to unban themselves after speaking to Nintendo support and showing them the Facebook listings and photos of the cartridges. That's going to be the next thing. You're not going to be allowed to resell your games. That's why they want everything going digital. You're not going to be allowed to resell your games because they want you to basically pay for the license to play the game that they can take away at any point in time. Purely digital. What exactly Nintendo thought was going on is unclear, since it's hardly unusual to sell secondhand games, but they likely believe they were pirated games, which seems to be their main concern. So it could have been a bootleg cart. It could have been this person had that game locked to their, whatever the virtual card thing they're doing now, and it was locked to another Switch. I don't know. Although Nintendo is pushing digital downloads more with Switch 2, physical game sales are still much more prevalent on Nintendo formats and PlayStation and Xbox. That means secondhand games are commonplace, and while traditional piracy is relatively rare in Nintendo consoles, fake cartridges are still easily found on eBay and other online sources. While the mod cart that Nintendo has already banned is the sort of thing used to download pirated games. Yeah, I mean, in that case, I can see, making sure that maybe it doesn't play the pirated games, whatever. I actually use EverDrive. I'll say it. I use it on my N64. A lot of those games I actually own the ROMs for, but you wouldn't be able to use something like that, I don't think, on a current generation console. But it's nice because all the games I have, I don't have to take them out. I can just put them onto an EverDrive and plug that one cartridge into my N64, and I've got every game I want to play right there, right? And it's fantastic. But yeah, I don't think you're allowed to do that now. I think they're like, yeah, you're going to download like brand new games. Long-standing problem is that Nintendo games are rarely discounted by Nintendo or retailers. So secondhand games are vital for many fans. Yeah, they don't want you buying secondhand games. They want you buying a Mario Kart World at $90 or whatever. If Nintendo starts banning everyone simply for playing a secondhand game, then there's going to be chaos online. But hopefully they realize that before issues like this become common. I think eventually they're gonna do away with that. You buy the game, you're buying the right to play it, but you can't transfer that right. You wait. You think it's ridiculous? You think it's ridiculous for me to say that? I don't think it's ridiculous at all. I think that's the next logical step for a money-hungry company like Nintendo is, gosh, we're leaving a lot of money on the table by letting people resell their games. Let's make sure they can't resell their games. You buy that game, that's it. That's basically you're buying a physical case for a digital game, and you can't transfer the digital game. You can't sell your digital game to somebody else. That's where they're going with all of it, because they know they're losing a lot of money. And if you want to buy a retro game, you're not buying it from the retro game store. You're buying it from Nintendo through their online store, and they might censor it. Who the hell knows? So they have a support page up. Let's see here. This is coming from Reddit. Switch 2 users, be careful buying used Switch 1 games. You can get banned if a bad actor dumped it. Okay. Having said that, Nintendo support is amazing. Help you get up and running. Holy shit, that's scary. I bought at least 4 used games this week. How did you notice that they blocked you? They don't do it immediately, at least from what I can tell, second and third hand, but you notice it when you get an error code when you try to use online services and you look up the code and find out what it means. I inserted the game into my Switch 2. One by one and waited to patch. This was late yesterday. Today I turned on the console and was told my online service was restricted. I could not even download the whip games I bought. I contacted Nintendo support and found out I was banned. They had me pull up the Facebook Marketplace listing, take some pics of the cartridges. The whole process was painless and fast. So at least they fixed it. Cases like this, Nintendo does require proof of purchase of the games in question, even if it's just an online listing. It doesn't always guarantee a resolution. But in some cases, they can determine that you were not at fault. Yeah, because, I mean, there are a lot of bootleg cartridges out there. I know the DS, it was really common. Like, you get, like, most of the games on eBay, it was like, wow, I can buy this brand new DS game for like $10. That's a really good deal. And then you found out it was, you know, a dumped version of it. So, but they're not the only ones. Ubisoft now. This coming from Dual Shockers. Ubisoft's EULA is the perfect advertisement for stop killing games. So this is the new EULA, I guess. Never underestimate the power of the gaming community. It says the EULA is effective from the earlier date of the you purchase, download, or use the product. Okay, until terminated according to its terms. You and Ubisoft or licensors may terminate this EULA at any time for any reason. So they can just pull the plug on your game at any point in time. Termination by Ubisoft will be effective upon notice to you and termination of your Ubisoft account, if any, or at the time of Ubisoft's decision to discontinue offering and supporting the product. This EULA will terminate automatically if you fail to comply with any of the terms and conditions of this EULA. Upon termination for any reason, you must immediately uninstall the product and destroy all copies of the product in your possession. So TLDR, if they decide to pull the plug on the game, they decide to end support or whatever, or you did something that they feel violates their terms of service, you have to uninstall, destroy all of your Ubisoft games. Isn't that stupid? So you don't own it. Again, you don't own it. You buy it, but you don't own it. You're basically buying the right to use it as long as they think you should be allowed to use it. And when it's no longer profitable for them, you're supposed to just delete it. Yeah, like, yeah, I'm sorry. I sunk, you know, hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars into this game and countless hours into this game, but that's okay, Ubisoft. For the good of the company, I will delete my game. You know, for the good of the company, because it's all about you, Ubisoft. It's all about you. It's not about the player. It's about your bottom line. Yeah, so this is crazy. And this is why we need stop killing games to be successful, because it's about the bigger issue. And it's not just about like, oh, hey, this online game is no longer available and you're forcing developers and studios to keep these games online and pay for the server costs and all this. And it's just not sustainable. No. That's deflection. Really what it's about is owning the product that you paid for and being able to resell the product that you paid for and being able to use the product that you paid for, even if official support ends for it. And, every day, almost every day, you see more and more examples of why I actually do think there need to be some guidelines, some laws maybe, or at least gamers need to look at developers and be like, okay, you've got this new game coming out. Do you have a statement about what your end of life scenario looks like? Like, if I'm going to invest time and money into this game, what happens to this game if in 6 months you decide you're bored? You decide it's not profitable enough. You don't want to do it anymore. What happens? And if they can't answer that, I just wouldn't buy the game. I wouldn't even invest time playing it. I'd just be like, there's no exit strategy here. I could sink countless hours, even in a free-to-play game. I could sink countless hours into this game, and there's no guarantee that I'm going to have anything to show for it. So why start? And just nope out. Smart developers will have an exit strategy, even if this doesn't become a law, because gamers are going to be looking for it, I think. And smarter developers still will start looking at maybe going back to physical cartridges that you own free and clear. That would be the smart thing to do. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up, guys. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later. For more pop culture news, views, and rants, go to news.clownfishtv.com. That's news.clownfishtv.com.